Hey everybody, welcome to the Sum Up. We took 1 week off, but we are back and we are here to discuss student-to-student discussions, growing and fostering the beneficial academic discussions in our class that we are all hoping for. Kids, we know this, are going to talk. It happens. So as teachers, it's our job to give them something valuable to talk about. We want to push them in the direction of what we want them to say and what we want them to discuss. Every student in your room, I don't care if it's a tier 3 kid all the way up to an honors kid, everybody in your room is capable of having an academic math discussion. I promise you this, but it's all about how it's structured and all about the buildup. So we know as human beings, we don't like to talk about things that we don't understand because we don't want to look stupid. Our kids are the same way. They're not going to talk about something that they don't understand. So if you've watched any of the other videos or if you've even had a discussion with me about math, chances are that I've brought up vocabulary. That's huge to me. We have to be growing and setting the framework and the groundwork of vocabulary with our students. If they don't know vocabulary, they're not going to be able to have any conversation. So the first step in all of this, before you even get to the talking part, is making sure that kids are understanding and using vocabulary on a daily basis. As teachers, we have to model this. In my room, I had a list of words that we did not say. So on my poster of words I didn't say, the number one word in my room we never said was point. What I mean by that is we never said 5.2. That's not helping us at all. It's 5 2/10. We have to understand numbers, understand place values, and that was as 8th graders. We didn't say 3.75. It was 3 7/500ths. We have to get them to use this vocabulary. So as a teacher, we set the tone for that. So we model, nope, we don't say that word, guys. We say this instead. So we need to make sure that we're modeling these things for our students and giving them opportunities to use the vocabulary before we even start the discussion. So we're going to go through 3 things real fast. It's kind of like the before the discussion, during the discussion, after the discussion. Then I'll give you a little example of how it will work. So before the discussion, it's very key that you already have your partner set up. So my kids were in tables, so they had a table partner. Where things kind of get fuzzy for a student is when you say, turn to a table partner and discuss. When you say a table partner, it's not specific enough. So we need to have it set up and say, okay, you are table partner number 1. What I did is I just taped numbers to the tables. So if you were the partner on the left, you were always number 1. Partner on the right was always number 2. And I was very specific about who was saying what and for how long. So for example, I might say, okay, if you're partner number 1, you're going to explain to your partner blank and give them a sentence stem or give them something to talk about for the next 15 seconds. When partner number 1 is done, partner number 2, you are going to explain blank and give them something again for the following 15 seconds. Okay, so it's important to give them the structure. They're kids, they don't know how to just have a math conversation. We have to structure it very carefully, who's saying what, for how long, and let them know that. So that's the pre. Once your discussion has started and they're talking, it's so important that you are up and monitoring. So you have to be moving around the room. Number 1, this is accountability for the students that you might walk around and hear what they're discussing. Easy accountability. Number 2, this is good for you because you can hear the discussions and know whether they know what they're saying or not. It is so important as you're monitoring, you're giving quick and instant feedback. So if I'm walking around and I hear something great, all I'm going to say is lean over, and you don't even have to talk loud. Just say, I like it, great job. Moving on. Great point, move on. Okay, so it's quick, instant feedback, and you're making a mental note of who said something that was just like, boom, that was so perfect, okay? And compliment them. Give them that affirmation that, man, that was so good. Remember that, I'm going to call on you, okay? So give them that instant feedback as you're going around. So again, before the conversation even happens, you've got them all set up, you're going to explain what they're going to say, you're going to time it real quick. Number 2, during the conversation, you're monitoring and you're giving instant feedback and listening for key vocabulary. And finally, number 3 is when the conversation's over, you wrap it up, time's up, you're going to highlight some of those key things or the important or the best topics that you heard somebody discuss. So you could do this by saying, hey Matt, I heard you said something great, would you mind sharing that with the class? Or you might say, okay guys, one awesome thing that I heard Sarah say was, and tell them. Either way, but you want to highlight those successes, especially for the students who don't always share. So in thinking about setting this up, I would do this 3 or 4 times throughout every class. So it's really, it might take a second the first time, but after that it's very quick. Okay, so really we would work a problem out. So example, bell work. Let's say I had a bell work question up. When bell work was done, Every day we discussed it partner to partner before I went over bell work. So bell work would be up on the board, timer for bell work would be going. When the timer goes off and bell work is completed, I would switch over to our discussion. I would say, partner 1, you are going to discuss this section. So it might be the first 3 steps, and I would say when you get to this point, you're done talking. Partner number 2, you're picking up where they left off and you're filling in the rest of our problem for it. Then later on, we're maybe doing some work time. Again, they've worked through it. I'm going to stop everybody. I'm going to say, okay, partner number 2, you're going to start us this time. Explain this section of it. You have 15 seconds. When you're finished, partner number 1 is going to pick up and do the rest. But it's super structured. And when that time's up, we're moving on. That's when you can go through it. But before you give an answer, give them a chance to talk about it with the person next to them. But again, structure it in a way where they can be focused. Give them vocab to use. So you might say, when you're discussing this, make sure I hear you say our key vocab, which are blah, 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 whatever it is. So make sure you've planned out who your partners are going to be and you've structured it in a way that's successful. Make sure you have given them clear directions on who's saying what and for how long. Make sure you're up monitoring, giving instant feedback, and then make sure you are sharing those great things that we hear students say that's going to build up their confidence. Everybody have an excellent day. Thank you again for watching. You guys are awesome.